How many hundreds make 1,000? In this lesson, you will learn about place value by seeing how many ones make a 10, how many tens make 100, and how many hundreds make 1,000. Remember, our digits, or numerals, are the symbols that we use to make our numbers. And place value is the value of any of those digits based on its place within a number. In these numbers, 4 and 7 are the numerals we use to make them, but they have different values depending on their place. Here, 7 has a value of 7 ones. In 474, 7 has a value of 70, or 7 tenths. And in 744, the 7 has a value of 700 because it's in the hundreds place. It's important to remember that the relationship between places is base 10. So it takes 10 ones to make a 10, 10 tens to make 100. And that means that every time we move to the left, it takes 10 of the smaller amount to make 1 of the larger amount to the left. A common misunderstanding students have is thinking that since 10 tens make 100, 100 hundreds make 1,000. Like I said before, our place value system is base 10. So every time we move to the left, we're grouping by 10. So 100 hundreds would make a number much larger than 1,000. So let's look at some base 10 blocks to help us see that 10 ones make 1 10. Here we have 10 ones. If we rearrange them, you can imagine them coming closer together, we would make 1 10 stick. 10 tens make 100. You can see this as these come together, they form 100 block. So how many hundreds make 1,000? Well, it is 10 hundredths to make 1,000 cube. This is really important, so I want to look at it one more time, that 10 hundredths make 1,000. If you watch and see how they add one on top of the other, you can see that it takes 10 hundred blocks to form a perfect 1,000 cube. Now let's count them out so we can see how these 10 hundreds make 1,000. If we have 100 block, we have 100. As we add on, we have 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and then we have what some people call 1000. In math, we call it 1,000 because we've grouped it into 1,000. Let's try grouping some numbers with some blocks that we have. Here I have a bunch of single blocks. I'll use my place value mat to see what I can trade in. I have 10 blocks here that I know I can trade in for 1 10 stick. And here are another 10 blocks that I can trade in for another 10 stick. If I move my single block over, I can see really quickly that I have 2 10s and 1 1. And that gives me a total of 21. Let's try with some more. Here I have 10 ones I can trade in for a 10 stick, another 10 ones I can trade in for another 10 stick. If I move my singles over, since I can't group them anymore, and I move my 10s over, I can count my 10s to see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 10s, and 3 1s. That helps me really quickly see that I have a total of 73. Now let's try with some more. Again, I'm going to start with my 1s, grouping every 10 ones to trade in for a 10 stick.
And I'm left with 5 singles.
I'll move over. And when I move my 10 sticks over, I see that I have enough 10s so that I can trade 10 10s for a 100 block. So I have 5 1s, 1 10, and 100 block. That gives me a total of 115. Let's try with a number that's even larger. I've got 3 1s, 12 10s, and 9 hundreds. But I see here in my tens place, I can group 10 of those 10s into 100 block, which leaves me with 2 tens and 10 hundreds. Now I remember that 10 hundreds can be grouped to form 1,000 cube. So that leaves me with 1,000, 0 hundreds, 2 tens, and 3 ones. If I add those numbers together, I get 1,023. Now notice there's a 0 in the hundreds place. That 0 is so important because it tells me that I have 0 hundreds. And if it weren't there, it would be the number 123, which is much smaller than the number I actually have, which is 1,023. In this lesson, you have learned about place value by seeing how many ones make a 10, how many tens make 100, and how many hundreds make 1,000.